too big to breed and sent to die. But a human claimed the Giantess against all orders. The mining moon called Red Hollow was famous for only one thing, its slaughter pits. Every cycle, unwanted alien creatures were brought here to be sold for meat. The air always smelled of rust, old blood, and smoke from burning fat. Traders shouted, buyers laughed, and the weak waited for their final breath. In the middle of the stone arena stood Vora, the largest giantess anyone had ever seen. 16 feet tall, silver-skinned and chained so tightly the metal cut into her arms. She did not fight. She did not speak. She only waited for death with empty eyes. A crowd gathered around her. Some pointed at her size. Others touched her legs to check the meat quality. Someone shouted, "She is too big to breed. Her own tribe threw her away." Another laughed, "Good for soup. Her bones alone are worth more than her life." But Vora did not react. She stared at the ground, breathing slow, as if her heart had already stopped inside her chest. The auctioneer, a tall, sharp-voiced alien, stepped forward and raised his staff. "Listen up, lot 99, the giantess no one wants. Too large for breeding, too strong to control, and too useless to keep alive. Starting price, 2 credits. The crowd exploded into laughter. 2 credits was less than the price of a broken tool. "No one will buy that monster," an alien shouted. "Just cut her up," another yelled. The auctioneer shrugged. "If no one bids, then we move her to the slaughter table." Vora's fingers tightened just a little. That tiny movement, almost invisible, was the only sign that she understood what would happen next. She whispered something under her breath, too soft for anyone to hear. Not a plea, only a tired wish. "Let it end." The auctioneer lifted his hand to signal the butcher, and in that moment, a sound echoed from behind the crowd. A human voice. "I'll take her." The laughter died instantly. Everyone turned to see a young human mechanic named Jack standing at the back of the pit. He wore a dusty jacket, a tool belt, and confusion on his own face, because even he was not sure why he had spoken. The auctioneer blinked. "You? A human? You want this giantess? She could crush you with one step." Jack ignored the insult and walked forward. The crowd opened a space for him, some amused, others curious if he had lost his mind. Vora did not move. She only lifted her eyes for a second, and that 1 second changed everything. Her eyes did not show anger. They showed fear. Fear of him, fear of more pain, fear of being taken again. Jack stopped in front of her giant chained legs. He had to tilt his head far back to see her face. For a moment they simply stared at one another. A tiny tear rested on her cheek, caught in the dust. Suddenly the auctioneer slammed his staff onto the ground. "Final call! 2 credits! Sold to the human fool!" The crowd cheered, not for the sale, but for the entertainment. They expected Jack to die in an hour. They expected Vora to crush him, eat him, run away, or break his ship. Jack handed over 2 credits. The guards laughed so loudly their armor shook. "Good luck, human! She will kill you the moment you touch the chains." Jack ignored them and knelt beside the metal lock. He pulled a small tool from his pocket. Click, click, click. The lock opened. The chains fell. The whole arena went silent. Vora stepped back in shock, almost stumbling. She could not understand it. For years, she had been chained like an animal, sold like cheap meat, used for work, until she collapsed. No one had ever freed her. No one had ever touched her chains with kindness. Jack did not step away from her. He looked up at her again, calm and steady. "You're free now." She did not believe it. She waited for him to shout orders, to force her to bend, to strike her with a whip. But he simply said, "Come with me. I won't hurt you." Vora's lips trembled as she opened them, her voice small for someone so big. "Why? Why did you claim me? What do you want from me?" Jack looked around at the cruel market, then back at her bruised arms. "Someone had to save you," he said quietly. "And today, that someone was me." The crowd laughed again, but their voices already felt far away. Vora stared at him, confused, afraid, and for the first time in years, just a little hopeful. Jack put his hand out. She looked at it, unsure if she should touch something so small, so fragile, so gentle. Then she took a slow step toward him. A giantess marked for slaughter. A human who refused to walk away. And somewhere deep in the shadows of the arena, hunters watched them both with sharp eyes. They were not going to let a giantess that size simply walk away. Why did a simple human mechanic claim a giantess everyone else wanted dead? If you enjoy HFY stories like this, make sure to gently subscribe to this channel. Your support keeps new stories coming. The moment Vora stepped out of the auction pit, the wind of Red Hollow brushed against her skin. It felt strange, cold, real. She had not felt open air without chains in years. Jack walked ahead, hands in his pockets, acting as if saving a giantess from slaughter was the most normal thing in the universe. But Vora, she stayed behind him like a shadow, taking slow steps, afraid her weight would crack the ground. The traders didn't laugh anymore. They stared. Some whispered, "He won't last a night. She'll crush his ship. Humans are too soft. That boy is dead already." Vora heard everything. Each word stabbed her deeper. She wondered if Jack heard it too, and if he would change his mind. Jack led her down a narrow rocky path toward the cargo docks. His small ship, a patched, rust-colored freighter, waited near the edge of the landing bay. It looked tiny compared to Vora. She could probably lift it with one hand. When Jack stopped walking, she almost bumped into him. He turned around. "You okay?" he asked. No one had asked her that in her entire life. Vora lowered her eyes, unsure how to respond. I do not know," she whispered. Jack noticed the fresh wounds around her wrists. He reached out gently to see them. She flinched so hard the ground shook. Jack froze. "Relax. I'm just checking." Vora struggled to speak. "I am not used to gentle hands." Jack's jaw tightened, anger flashing in his eyes, but not at her. He hated how they treated her. He hated that she expected pain every time someone came close. He pulled a small med-gel tube from his belt and stepped closer. "Let me help." Vora hesitated, then slowly lowered her arms. The moment his warm hand touched her skin, something inside her chest trembled. She did not understand this feeling. She only knew it was new and terrifying. Jack applied the gel carefully. She breathed in sharply. The gel was old, but his touch was warm. When he finished, he stepped back. "There, better?" Vora nodded once, her voice too fragile to speak. But far above them, something else moved. A small drone hovered behind a broken antenna. Its camera lens focused on Vora's face. It broadcasted everything to unknown watchers. When they reached the ship, Vora stopped. The entrance door was barely as tall as her knee. "I cannot go inside," she said softly. Jack looked at the ship, then at her. Yeah, you're a bit big for the doorway, he admitted with a half-smile. Vora expected him to send her away. Instead, he tapped the side of the ship. It's okay. You can ride in the cargo bay. The roof opens. No chains? She asked quietly. Jack blinked. What? No, of course not. Vora didn't move. She didn't believe him. She had been moved in cargo holds many times before, always chained, always gagged, always treated like an object. Jack walked closer. You're not a prisoner, you're not a tool, and you're not meat. Vora trembled. Her hands curled. Her breath shook. She did not understand how a tiny human could speak words no giant ever dared say. Finally, she stepped into the cargo bay. Jack closed the roof halfway to give her space. Inside the ship, she curled up carefully so her size wouldn't break the walls. Even then, her shoulders brushed the metal and her legs were folded tight. Jack checked the controls and powered up the engines. But before taking off, he looked back at her. We'll get out of here safely, I promise. She stared at him with confusion. Promises were lies in her world, but Jack's voice didn't sound like a lie. As the ship lifted into the dusty sky, Vora whispered to herself, why would a human care? She didn't know Jack heard it. He answered softly, because no one else did. The engines roared, and they rose above Red Hollow. Vora watched the slaughter pits shrink below, looking smaller than her own shadow. It felt like leaving hell behind. But the moment they reached the upper atmosphere, an alarm blared. Jack jerked forward, eyes wide. What? Something's locking onto us. Vora's head shot up. Her senses sharpened. A red light flashed across the cockpit. Incoming signal. Hunter transmission detected. Jack cursed under his breath. No, 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 already. But Vora knew that voice, that static pattern, that tone. Her heart dropped. It is my tribe, she whispered. Jack looked back. They're coming to take you back. Vora shook her head slowly. No, they are coming to finish what they started. The ship jolted violently as a shadow passed overhead. A massive hunter vessel blocked out the moonlight. A cold voice echoed across the frequency. Giantess Vora, you were marked for slaughter. Return to your fate. Jack gripped the controls. Vora's hands shook. Fear, old and poisonous, crawled up her spine. Jack turned toward her. Do you want to go back? Her eyes filled with terror. She shook her head fast. Jack nodded. Then hold on. The engines flared as he pushed the ship into a steep dive. Vora gasped. The world spun around her. Jack shouted, They're not taking you, not while I'm alive. But the hunter ship followed them like a hungry shadow. Can Jack protect a giantess the galaxy has already decided must die? The small freighter tore through Red Hollow's clouds as Jack forced every bit of power from the engines. Behind them, the massive hunter ship followed like a dark mountain with wings. Inside the cargo bay, Vora held on to the metal support beams. The ship was small, too small for someone her size, and every sudden movement risked tearing the walls apart. But she stayed still, her breathing heavy and fast. Jack shouted from the cockpit, They're gaining on us! Hold tight! Vora didn't answer. She couldn't. Her voice was locked by fear she hadn't felt since the day her tribe handed her to the slavers. A loud boom shook the freighter. A blast from the hunter ship's cannons passed over them, heating the air and rattling every bolt in the ship. Jack cursed. They're not trying to disable us. They're trying to kill you. Vora whispered. They do not want me alive. Anywhere. Jack tightened his grip on the controls. Well, that's their problem, not mine. Another blast exploded behind them. Jack jerked the ship left, then down, diving between two rocks floating in low orbit. Vora's heart hammered. She could feel fear on her skin like cold fire. But Jack didn't look afraid. He looked angry. For several minutes, Jack performed desperate maneuvers, dodging blasts and slipping through tight gaps. A normal pilot would have been dead already. A normal ship would have been blown apart. But Jack wasn't normal. He was stubborn. The hunter ship continued firing, missing by inches. Then Vora noticed something on the cargo bay wall, a blinking blue light. A faint symbol. Vora leaned close. Her eyes widened. Human. There is a mark. A hunter beacon. Jack glanced back. What? They placed it on my chains. Before the auction. It stays with the owner. It leads them to me. Jack's eyes widened. So they're tracking us with that? Yes. Jack jumped from his seat, grabbed a wrench, and ran toward the cargo bay. Where is it? Show me. Vora pointed at the blinking mark. Jack slammed his wrench into it. Nothing happened. He hit it again. It sparked, then glowed brighter. Oh, come on. Boom! A shot hit the rear shield, sending sparks across the cargo bay. Jack hissed, We're dead if that beacon stays on us. Vora looked at her massive hands. Hands that had been used for lifting stones, pulling chains, breaking rocks, never for protecting someone small. She gently touched the small device. Step back. Jack moved away. Vora pressed her palm against the beacon. Her skin heated. Her eyes glowed faintly. Jack froze. What are you doing? Vora whispered. Something they feared. The beacon began melting under her touch. Metal softened. Circuits snapped. The glow died. With one last push, it crumbled into dust. Jack stared. You can melt metal? Vora lowered her hand, ashamed. Yes, but only because they changed me. My tribe enhanced me in the womb. When I grew too strong, they feared me. That's why they wanted you dead. Yes. Before Jack could respond, alarms blared again. Target lost. Trace lost. Switching to manual pursuit, the hunter ship didn't stop chasing. Jack ran back to the controls. You bought us time, not safety. He carefully studied the radar. The hunter ship was now searching in wide sweeps, scanning space for heat signatures. Jack thought fast. Then he smirked. Well, if they want tricks, I've got tricks. He slammed the freighter into a deep drop toward the planet's surface. Vora gasped. The ship shook violently. Heat built up. Metal groaned. Human, your ship will break. Not if I land it first. They crashed into a canyon, skidding across dusty rock. Sparks flew, the ship screamed, and Vora used her arms to brace the hull so it wouldn't crush Jack. When the ship finally stopped, Jack coughed and wiped dust from his eyes. We're alive? Vora gently lifted a fallen panel from Jack's legs. You are alive. Jack coughed again, smiling weakly. And you kept her from falling on me. Thanks. Vora opened her mouth to answer, but a distant echo interrupted her. Footsteps. Not running. Walking. Slow. Heavy. Purposeful. Jack froze. Vora's blood turned cold. The canyon walls amplified the sound. Dozens of feet. Dozens of hunters. Jack whispered, They tracked us manually. Vora nodded. They smell me, hear me, know me. Jack looked at the wrecked ship, at the broken controls, at Vora's terrified eyes. We can't outrun them, he said softly. Vora closed her eyes. Fear swallowed her. They will take me, kill me. They will take you too. My presence has cursed you. Jack stepped in front of her, so small compared to her enormous form. Stop saying that. Vora lifted her head in shock. Jack continued. You didn't curse me, they did, and I'm not letting them take you. She trembled. No human can fight them. Jack grinned softly. Who said I'll fight like a warrior? I'll fight like an engineer. He pointed at the broken ship. This ship may be dying, but she still has a few teeth. As the footsteps grew louder, Vora whispered, Why do you protect me? Jack turned to her with the simplest answer in the world. Because you're worth protecting. Her breath caught. She had never heard those words in her life. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then, a deep voice boomed from the canyon entrance. Return the Giantess, and we will give you a quick death. Jack whispered, Well, that's not a very friendly offer. He reached for a lever on the wall. Vora watched him, confused. What is that? Jack smirked. Plan B. He pulled the lever, and the entire canyon lit up. What trap did Jack activate, and can it stop an entire hunting squad? The canyon exploded with light, not bright white, but burning blue. Crackling blue arcs jumped from rock to rock like hungry lightning. The hunters shouted in confusion. Some shields flickered. Some armor sparked. Jack pulled Vora behind a large boulder as the entire canyon hummed with unstable energy. Vora stared at the glowing lines carved into the canyon walls. Symbols, wires, small buried devices. What is this? She whispered. Jack grinned proudly. Old mining equipment. The previous crew used these electric nets to trap sand beasts. I rewired the whole system while we were falling. Vora blinked at him. You rewired the canyon during the crash? Jack shrugged. It was either that or die. A blast echoed across the canyon. A hunter threw a spear of plasma at them, hitting the edge of the boulder and sending shards flying. Jack ducked. They're not afraid of electricity, they're just irritated. Vora peeked out. Her tribe's hunters moved slowly through the electric field, shielding their faces. They were much larger than humans, 10 to 12 feet tall, with bone armor covering half their bodies. Their eyes glowed red in the crackling blue light. They looked like walking mountains. The leader stepped forward, his voice echoing off the canyon walls. Vora, embrace your fate. You were built wrong. We will fix the error. Vora's heart froze. Her knees weakened. Old memories slammed into her like stones. Jack glanced at her. Hey, look at me. Vora forced herself to turn her head. They're trying to break you again, Jack said softly. You're not going to let them. Vora didn't speak. Tears filled her eyes, but she blinked them away before they fell. Jack stepped onto a rock for better height and shouted toward the hunters. Hey, how about you leave her alone and fix your own broken thinking? The hunters turned their glowing eyes toward him. The leader growled. A human defends a defect? How pathetic. Jack jumped down again. He didn't have time for insults. The trap wouldn't hold forever. Vora pressed her forehead against the rock, fighting panic. Her past was opening again, a wound that never healed. Jack touched her arm. Vora, tell me what they did to you. Tell me why they want you dead. She didn't want to speak. Her breath shook. Her voice trembled. But the truth pressed forward anyway. She sat down slowly, her massive body trembling. I was born bigger, she whispered. Stronger, faster. My mother hid it at first, but when I was 6, my strength, it broke a training stone. Jack listened quietly. No judgment, no fear. When the elders saw that, they said I was changed in the womb. My mother cried. My father begged. But they ordered tests. Jack nodded slowly. What tests? Vora looked away. Painful ones. Her fingers dug into the rock. They pushed my body to breaking. They made me lift stones until my bones cracked. They made me fight older warriors. I won. But every victory made them fear me more. Jack clenched his fists. So they decided you were a threat. Yes, they said I was modified, not natural. An abomination. A weapon someone might use against them. She pointed at her throat. That is when they put the death implant in me. I did not know until years later. Jack swallowed hard. So they planned to kill you. Since childhood. Vora's voice broke. When I turned 18, they chained me. They told the tribe I was too large to breed, too strong to control, too dangerous to live. They sent me to the slavers. I thought I would die quickly. But the slavers discovered my strength and kept me alive to work. A tear rolled down her cheek. She wiped it away immediately. When I failed, they beat me. When I succeeded, they beat me more. Jack's chest tightened with rage. Vora, I'm so sorry. She shook her head. It is not your sorrow to carry. I accepted my death years ago. Jack grabbed her wrist, not with force, but with certainty. Not anymore. You're not dying today. Not if I can help it. Vora looked at him with raw disbelief. Why do you care so much? I am nothing to your species. I am a burden. Jack stared into her giant eyes. You're not a burden. You saved me twice already. And you deserve to live. That's enough. Vora's breath caught. Her eyes glistened. But before she could speak, a massive explosion tore through the electric trap. The hunters roared as the blue nets collapsed. The canyon grew dark again. The leader stepped forward, unharmed. Your tricks are useless, human. Give her to us. Jack whispered, We're running out of time. He scanned the canyon. They were surrounded. No escape route. No fresh traps. Only a giantess who didn't believe in herself, and a human who believed enough for both of them. Jack turned to Vora. Listen to me. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not their property. Vora closed her eyes. I cannot fight my own kind. Jack put his hand on her cheek, a tiny hand on a massive face. Then fight for yourself. The hunters charged forward. Vora's heartbeat thundered, her vision blurred. Fear rose like fire, but something else rose too. A voice inside her, a voice she had buried. I am not a defect. She opened her eyes. They glowed brighter than the hunter's weapons. Jack stepped back as the ground trembled beneath her feet. Vora stood, tall, strong, alive, and for the first time in her life, not running. What awakened inside Vora? And are the hunters ready for it? The hunters charged like falling mountains. Dust rose from the canyon floor, shaking the air with every heavy footstep. Their bone armor clattered, their weapons glowed, their eyes burned red. They expected Vora to fall to her knees again. This time, she didn't. Vora stood tall, her massive shadow stretching across the stone walls. Her eyes glowed silver blue, brighter than the hunter torches. The ground under her feet cracked. Jack took one small step back, watching her with awe and fear mixed together. "Vora, whatever you're doing, don't stop," he whispered. But Vora didn't hear him. Her mind no longer lived in the past. The pain, the chains, the fear, gone. Something inside her had awakened, something her tribe feared long before she understood it. The lad hunter roared, "Defect! You were ordered to die!" Vora's answer came like thunder. "I am not a defect." She stomped forward, the sound echoing through stone and bone alike. The nearest hunter swung a plasma spear at her chest. She caught it mid-air with one hand. The hunter froze. No one could catch a plasma spear, not even giant warriors. Vora crushed it like a twig. The hunter screamed as the weapon overloaded and blasted him backward into a canyon wall. Jack blinked in disbelief. Okay, that's new. The other hunters roared in anger and fear. They surrounded her from all sides. 6 giants, each armed, each trained, each ready to kill. Vora lowered her body, ready to fight. But Jack noticed something else. Her skin. It was glowing. Not bright, but faint lines like energy channels under her skin pulsed with soft silver light. His voice trembled. "Vora, your body is changing." She didn't answer. The first hunter swung a heavy hammer at her head. Vora ducked. The hammer smashed into the rock, splitting it into pieces. The second hunter jumped forward with a blade made of volcanic bone. Vora blocked it with her forearm. The bone blade shattered. The third hunter tried to stab her from behind. Jack shouted, "Behind you!" Vora spun, grabbed the hunter by the arm, and threw him across the canyon like a rag doll. Jack couldn't believe what he was seeing. She's stronger than before. Faster, too. Whatever her tribe did to her, they created something they couldn't control. But Vora didn't feel strong. She didn't feel powerful. She only felt free. Every strike she blocked, every step she took forward, every breath she inhaled without chains. She felt herself returning to the person she was always meant to be. But the hunters were not finished. The leader stepped forward, raising a massive weapon that looked like a cross between an axe and a lightning rod. The air buzzed. The canyon walls trembled. Jack recognized the weapon. Oh, crap. That's a sonic cleaver. One hit from that can tear rock apart. The leader swung the cleaver at Vora with furious speed. The shockwave blasted the ground, sending Vora sliding backward. Her feet dug trenches in the stone. Jack ran toward her. "Vora, are you okay?" She gritted her teeth. Yes. But her voice sounded strained. Her eyes dimmed slightly. The earlier glow flickered. Jack saw it instantly. Her new strength. It wasn't endless. The leader twisted the cleaver, charging it again. Lightning-like energy danced along its blade. Vora struggled to stand fully. Her legs shook. Jack realized the truth. "Vora, you're burning energy too fast. You need to rest." But there was no time for rest. The hunters advanced again. This time they attacked together. 3 from the front, 2 from the side, 1 from above. The leader swung the sonic cleaver. Jack's eyes widened. "Vora, move!" But Vora wasn't looking at the weapon. She was looking at Jack. A hunter coming from the side was about to spear him through the chest. Vora roared and leaped forward, taking the full sonic blast in her ribs just to push Jack out of the way. The shockwave tore through her body and blasted her into the canyon wall. Jack hit the ground hard. His arm scraped on stone, bleeding. He looked up, dizzy. "Vora! No!" She slid down the wall, gasping, holding her side. Silver blood leaked between her fingers. The hunters laughed. The leader raised the cleaver again. "Your human pet cannot save you now, Giantess." Jack's head spun. Pain throbbed in his arm, but he pushed himself up. He limped toward her. He didn't care how big they were. He didn't care how strong. He stood between Vora and 6 giants. His voice cracked, but didn't break. "You're not touching her." The hunters stared at him like he was insane. The leader stepped forward. "You? Protect her? You are nothing." Jack pointed at them with shaking hands. "Maybe I am nothing, but she saved me, twice, and I'm not leaving her." Vora's heart skipped. Jack stood there, small, bloody, shaking, unarmed, a human against giants. But his eyes burned with more fire than all their weapons. Vora felt something break inside her. Not fear, not shame, but something new, something warm, something strong. She pushed herself up, leaning on the rock. "Jack," her voice trembled, "you will die." Jack smiled weakly. "Not before I return the favor." The leader roared and charged. Jack pulled a small device from his belt, a remote trigger. The hunters didn't know what it was, but Vora did. Jack whispered, "Remember that plan I said the ship still had? This is it." He pressed the button. The ground under the hunters exploded. Dust and fire shot upward, and from the shattered floor of the canyon, a buried engine core ignited. A roar of burning plasma blasted upward, engulfing the hunters in blinding light. The canyon shook. The air turned white. The hunters screamed. Jack grabbed Vora's hand. "Hold on!" Vora wrapped her massive fingers around him, protecting him with her entire arm, as the shock waves ripped through the canyon. When the light faded, 3 hunters lay unconscious. 2 crawled away, armor melting. 1 was still standing. The leader. His armor cracked, his face burned, his eyes full of hatred. He pointed the cleaver at Vora and Jack. "You will both die." Vora stood slowly, despite the pain, despite the bleeding. Jack stood beside her. A human and a giantess. Exhausted, injured, but alive. Vora raised her trembling fists. Jack raised nothing but courage. Together, they faced the last hunter. Can Vora fight in her weakened state? And what will Jack do if she falls? The canyon fell silent except for the crackling of the burned ground and Vora's heavy breathing. The leader, the last hunter standing, dragged the massive sonic cleaver across the stone. Each scrape echoed like a death bell. Vora stood in front of Jack, shoulders trembling, silver blood dripping down her side. She was hurt. Badly. Her earlier glow was gone. Her breaths came sharp and shallow. Jack touched her leg gently. "Vora, you can't fight anymore." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I must. If I fall, you die." Jack shook his head. "No, we fight together." The leader laughed, a cruel sound bouncing across the canyon. A human and a broken giantess. Pathetic. He lifted the cleaver. The air around it rippled with deadly waves. Jack knew one hit would kill both of them. He looked up at Vora. "Vora, can you stand on your own?" She nodded weakly, though her knees shook. Jack swallowed hard and stepped toward the leader. The giant warrior sneered. "You challenge me, human?" Jack spread his arms. "Not to fight. To distract." The leader roared and charged at Jack, but Vora bellowed louder. With a burst of desperate strength, she leaped in front of Jack, took the full sonic blast against her arm, and shoved the leader backward with a scream. The cleaver's shockwave tore through her arm, burning the skin, shaking her bones. Vora fell to one knee, panting in agony. Jack gasped. "Vora!" The leader recovered fast and approached them with slow, confident steps. "Still alive? I admire your stubbornness. Not enough to spare you." He swung the cleaver again. Jack grabbed a broken metal plate from the ground and threw it with all his strength. It hit the cleaver handle, not enough to stop the swing, but enough to push it slightly off course. The shockwave hit the ground instead of Vora's head, blasting dust everywhere. Vora used the moment. She grabbed a boulder, bigger than Jack, and hurled it with her last ounce of strength. The rock smashed into the leader's chest, sending him crashing into the canyon wall. He roared in pain. Vora collapsed. Jack ran to her side, heart pounding, panic choking him. "Stay with me! Vora, look at me!" Her eyes flickered, half-conscious. "I cannot." Her breath rattled. "My body burns inside." Jack knew exactly what that meant. Her tribe's genetic enhancements. They made her powerful but unstable. If she pushed too hard, her organs would overheat and shut down. He cupped her cheek. Her skin was hot, too hot. "Vora, listen to me. You're overheating. You're dying." She tried to smile but failed. "If this is the end, at least I died free." Jack shook his head violently. "No, not the end. Not for you." Behind them, the leader staggered up from the rubble, his armor cracked, his body bleeding, but he was still alive. He growled, "I will kill you both." Jack ignored him. He lifted Vora's massive head as gently as he could. "You hear me? You're not dying. Not now. Not after everything." Vora whispered, "Why do you care so much, human?" Jack's voice broke. "Because you're the bravest person I've ever met. Because you saved me. And because I can't lose you." Her glowing eyes softened for a moment. Then they dimmed again. Jack's heart squeezed. The leader roared and limped forward. Jack quickly pulled a small emergency injector from his belt. Vora saw it and shook her head weakly. It will not work on me." "This isn't medicine," Jack said. "It's an ice shot, designed to freeze overheated engines." Vora blinked slowly. "Engines? But I am not." "Your body is running too hot," Jack said. "This will cool you down, maybe just enough to stay alive." The leader stumbled closer, raising the cleaver. Jack pressed the injector against Vora's arm. "I'm sorry if this hurts." He injected the freezing chemical. Vora screamed. Her whole body spasmed, but the heat began to drop. Her glowing veins dimmed. Her breathing slowed, painful but steady. Jack held her hand tightly. "Stay with me. Please, stay with me." Her eyes fluttered, then opened. "Jack." A shadow fell over them. The leader raised the cleaver above his head. Enough! Jack turned, shielding Vora with his body. The leader sneered. You protect a monster. You protect a threat to the galaxy. Jack yelled back, No! I protect a woman who deserves a life. The leader swung. Vora's hand shot up. She grabbed the cleaver blade with her bare hand. The shockwave blasted dust everywhere. Her palm burned instantly, but she held it. The leader's eyes widened. You're still alive? Vora pushed herself up, trembling, but standing. Her voice was low, deadly. I will not submit anymore. With a roar, she snapped the cleaver in half. The leader stepped back in fear. Vora grabbed him by the chest, lifted him into the air. Jack shouted, Vora, wait! Don't kill him! She froze. The Shaddad's eater gasped, stunned that she hesitated. Jack stepped closer. If you kill him, the tribe will send more. If you spare him, he becomes a witness. He saw your strength, your will, your choice. Vora looked at Jack. You want me to let him go? Jack nodded. Yes. Show them you're not a weapon. Vora looked into the leader's eyes. They were filled with fear now, not hatred. She threw him onto the ground. The leader crawled away, coughing. Leave, Vora said quietly, and tell them, I will never bow again. The leader didn't argue. He fled. Silence filled the canyon. Jack slowly approached Vora. She collapsed again, breathing hard but alive. He touched her arm gently. You did it. Vora leaned back against the rock. Jack, I am tired. He smiled softly. You can rest now. You're safe. Her head lowered toward him. Human. Yes? Thank you. Her massive body relaxed, her eyes closed. But she wasn't unconscious. She was simply at peace. For the first time in her life. Jack sat beside her, exhausted. He leaned against her arm. Don't worry, he whispered. I won't leave you. Above them, engines hummed. A new ship, unknown, fast, silent, descended into the canyon. Jack's eyes shot open. Oh no, who now? Friend or enemy? And why are they here for Vora? The humming ship descended slowly, dust swirling around its sleek silver hull. It was not a hunter ship, not a slaver ship, not anything Jack recognized. Jack stepped in front of Vora automatically, even though he was exhausted, bleeding, and barely standing. Vora opened one eye, weak but alert. Jack, what is it? I don't know, he whispered, but stay behind me. She tried to rise, but pain pulled her back down. The ship landed softly, almost respectfully, its engines shutting off with a quiet, soft tone, not the harsh thunder of warships. A hatch opened. A tall figure stepped out. Not a hunter, not a warrior, not armored. She was a giantess, Vora's size, but gentle, calm. Her silver skin shimmered like moonlight, her white hair braided with long, glowing threads. Vora gasped. Mother? Jack's eyes widened. The woman, graceful and regal, walked slowly toward them. Her voice trembled with emotion. Vora, my child. Vora struggled to sit up straight. Her breath shook. Her eyes filled with disbelief. But you let them take me. The mother's face broke. No, I fought for you. I tried to hide you. I tried to keep the elders away. But when they declared you dangerous, I could not stop them. I have searched for you since the day you were taken. Vora's fingers curled. You searched? Her mother nodded, tears falling. Yes. I left the tribe. I broke their laws. I followed rumors of a giantess with silver skin. Every trail led me closer. Vora lowered her head, confusion swirling inside her. But you are not part of the hunters. Why come now? Her mother smiled sadly. Because the hunters sent a death signal, and I intercepted it. They tried to kill you. I came to save you. Jack stepped forward cautiously. Wait. How do we know she's telling the truth? The mother looked at him and bowed her head respectfully. You are the human who saved my daughter. Jack looked stunned. Vora stared at him proudly, as if silently saying, See? The mother continued softly, I owe you more than words can ever repay. Jack scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. Well, Vora saved me more times than I saved her. Vora blushed faintly, just for a second, before lowering her gaze. Her mother looked around at the destroyed canyon, the collapsed hunters, the broken weapons. What happened here? Vora took a slow breath. They came for me, to finish the order. But Jack, he fought beside me. Her mother's eyes softened. A human fought the hunters for you? That has never happened in our history. Jack shrugged. Someone had to. The mother smiled warmly. You remind me of her father. Vora stiffened. Father? Her mother nodded. He too stood against the elders. He too fought for you. He died protecting you. Vora's eyes widened, pain and pride twisting together. She whispered, Then I am my father's daughter. Her mother placed a gentle hand on her cheek. Yes, strong, brave, full of heart. The wind blew softly. Silence wrapped around them like a warm blanket. But Jack had a worried look. Look, I hate to break this moment, but Vora is badly hurt. She needs help. The mother nodded quickly. Yes, bring her to my ship. I have medicine, not slaver medicine, true healing. Vora tried to stand. Her legs trembled. Jack rushed forward and supported her arm. Easy, I've got you. Vora breathed deeply. You always do. Jack froze for a second at the warm words. He gave a shy smile. Well, someone's gotta carry the giant. She gave a tiny laugh, soft but real. Inside the mother's ship, metallic walls glowed with soft light. The air smelled clean, peaceful. Vora lay down on a healing bed specially designed for giant bodies. The bed hummed as nanites began repairing her internal damage. Jack stood beside her, watching anxiously. Her mother approached him. You care for her deeply. Jack nodded. She was alone, hurt. She deserved someone. Her mother tilted her head. And what do you deserve? Jack blinked. What? Vora answered weakly from the bed. He deserves a home. Jack looked at her. A home. She nodded slowly. I have no tribe. You have no ship anymore. We can find a place. Together. Jack's heart thudded. Vora, are you sure? Her eyes shone, soft and warm. You are the first person who treated me like more than a monster. If I walk forward, I want you with me. Jack placed his hand on her huge palm. And I'm not going anywhere. Her mother smiled warmly. You both have a long road ahead, but you will not walk it alone. For the first time, Jack felt hope settle into his bones. Vora breathed deeply as the healing lights grew brighter. Jack? Yes. Thank you for giving me life again. His voice was soft. You gave yourself life. I just helped you see it. Her eyes closed slowly, not from weakness, but peace. The mother touched Jack's shoulder. She will recover. Jack let out a breath he'd been holding for an hour. Good, because I still owe her about 20 life debts. The mother laughed. You will owe her many more before your journey ends. Jack smiled. I'm ready. Outside the ship window, the canyon lay empty. The hunters had fled. The danger had passed, but a new future waited. A human mechanic, a giantess once marked for slaughter, a bond stronger than fear, a life rebuilt from ashes together. As the ship rose toward the stars, Jack whispered, Let's start over, Vora. A new world, a new life. And somewhere in her healing sleep, Vora smiled.